Are Webricks a good replacement for Bricklink, or are they not worth spending your money on? Well, I've got several categories that I'm going to go through with my experience to answer that question. Now, for those of you that don't actually know what Webrick is, I'll pop some information up on the screen. You can pause that. So, price. Are they actually cheaper? Well, if you're comparing it straight to Lego, like on their website, hands down it's cheaper. Now, when you compare it to Bricklink, it gets a little more complicated. And this is because Webrick doesn't care about the rarity of pieces. They base their prices off of the actual plastic or how hard it is to mold. So rare pieces are going to be much cheaper than Bricklink, whereas a basic brick like a 2x4 is often more expensive. However, I noticed that when you're piecing together a whole wish list, it's still cheaper because, for one, the rare bricks even it out, but shipping is a big thing too. On Bricklink, you have to pay multiple shipping fees for multiple sellers, whereas Webrick, you only pay it once. So the price is definitely a plus. So the next thing is the shopping experience, and Webrick really shines in this area, mostly because of their part upload system. What you can do is take a parts list from Studio or Brickable and upload it, and it'll go through and find all the parts for you that you can then put in your cart. But that's not the only reason I like the shopping experience. I think just overall it's organized quite well, and another big thing is you're only buying from one seller. So you don't have to worry about multiple shipping fees and stores. So in that way, it's actually better than Bricklink. The website can be slow at times. This is probably because their servers are in China and I'm in the US, but it's definitely usable, and I really haven't had any issues lately with their website. So for the shopping experience, I say that is definitely a win. Okay, so now the actual quality of the bricks. This is the fun part. I'm just going to open these up and see what they're like. At first glance, they look just like Lego. There's really not a whole lot of ways to tell them apart. Of course, they don't have the logos on the stud, and if you look really closely, you can notice a few differences. I mean, really, it's so small that you really can't tell the difference, and they seem to just fit together and work just like you'd expect. They feel pretty good. Okay, this here seems a little tight. That one's a little odd. You can see it's kind of hard to completely hook them together. They're a little bit tight when you pull them apart. Actually, quite a bit. If you take a Technique piece, and especially with these, seem to be a little too tight sometimes. So depending on what you're building and depending on how picky you are, there are a few things where the bricks, they're a little too tight, and some people have said they're a little too loose. But overall, they look like they perform pretty well. It looks like other than those Technique pins, Technique gears and stuff work just fine. I would say that's about like Legos, maybe slightly tighter, which is actually a good thing in this case. I know with Legos, a lot of times you'd put a minifigure on a base plate and it just didn't stick very much. If we try putting some actual bricks on here. Now I need one of these, but that's good. That's just like Lego. It looks like just things that slide in and out, little pins. They are just a little extra tight, but that would totally work on a train and would actually be pretty good because it doesn't accidentally slip off of there. I think tight is better than too loose. The minifigure weapons and stuff seem to work just right. I do notice though, it's a little hard to see in the camera, but where the mold was, you can see two little rings on the rifle. If you look at this rifle, it actually looks much more like Lego. It's kind of interesting. These must have been different molds for the same piece. So like I said, there's a few little things that you might not like, but for the price, it's still pretty good, I think. And now I also got some lights. I will do a full video on just the lights, but right now we're just gonna test them out. So I've got a battery box here, and I should be able to plug this in to the expansion board. These are really tiny. And then I should be able to take this light, and now if I turn this on, yep, we get a little light. That is pretty cool. Now these are so small, they should fit under a little stud. I'm a little bit nervous to just press that down on there, but that is small enough that would fit in there, so that's awesome. So as far as scratch resistance, the one on the right is Webrick, on the left is Lego. They seem about the same. If we take another brick, I totally feel like jerry-rig everything right now. But anyway, it looks about the same when you look at that main scratch that I just made. So as far as quality, I'm gonna kind of have to give that a 50-50. Like, I think it's a win, but some people might be more picky, so that kind of depends on the person and your preferences. Now, as far as color, I've got several Lego colors here, and if we compare them, it looks pretty spot on. I mean, it seems like they might be slightly different as far as how shiny they are, but that might just be the logos. If we look at the blue, I can definitely see some difference in shine. The one looks more like a cheap, like a Mega Block or something, but really, the color is the same. Now, just as I thought the colors were perfect, I looked at these rock pieces I had bought, and depending on how you shine them in the light, one is darker than the other. And what's interesting is I got 2 dark ones and 2 light ones. They're not different enough that you could call them different colors. They're just slightly different, and this is probably due to the fact that Webrick buys from multiple suppliers. And I've also heard about other people complaining that the colors aren't quite right. I personally don't care, because honestly, with sun damage, my Lego bricks have more variation than these Webricks. But if you're picky, that might be something to consider, that some of the bricks might be just slightly different. So once again, just like quality, I'm going to have to say it depends. It depends on how picky you are. But overall, personally, I think the color is pretty good. All right, so now shipping, and I'm going to throw in a little bit about reliability as well. So I ordered the cheapest shipping, which is like $7. It was the 7 to 12 business day standard shipping. Now I assume the 7 to 12 day thing is the type of USPS shipping, because it ended up taking a month to get to me. When we look at the dates here, Webrick took 1 week to actually ship my order out. It took 1 week to make it to the US, another week sitting in New York for whatever reason, and then it took a week to ship to me. So most of this really isn't Webrick's fault. The only thing that Webrick had control over was how long it actually took to ship it out. And it was a week, which is kind of a long time. But then when you consider when I bought it, it was the holiday season. In fact, I was actually using a Black Friday code, so there's probably a lot of shipments going on. So I would say that is definitely acceptable shipping times. Now, I said I would mention something on reliability, and what I mean is how reliable are they in getting the parts that you ordered? Like, how often do they miss a part or put in a wrong part? Now, I don't know how common it is, but I do know that they did miss one part in my order. Now, I sent them an email telling them, and they said that they would send it to me free of charge. So in this case, I think they're definitely better than Bricklink. On Bricklink, I would say a lot of the sellers will miss pieces as well, and you can't guarantee that they will ship it to you free of charge. When I had a missing part in a Bricklink order, they just sent me a refund for the price of the piece in a little bit, but it still wasn't enough to actually pay for shipping if I needed it right then. So overall, I think shipping and reliability is good. So, are Webricks actually good? I would say yes. Webricks are good. There's some minor issues that some people might not like, but for most people, and especially when considering the price, Webricks are definitely worth it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. Thanks.